Talk Nerdy is brought to you by its sponsor AT&T, which provides IU students, faculty, and staff with personal cellular services at discounted rates. Talk Nerdy to Me, a conversation about technology's hottest topics at Indiana University and beyond. Welcome to episode 14 of Talk Nerdy to Me, a conversation about technology at IU and beyond. I'm your host, Janae Cummings, and with me as always is the Harley Quinn to my Joker, Brendan Howell. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well.
How was your holiday?
It was good. It was nice and relaxing. I saw all my family. My brother moved away in like September or something to North Carolina, as I haven't seen my nephew in a while, so I got to see him. But he wasn't very friendly, so...
Children aren't friendly.
He wasn't, though. Normally, like, he's all loving and just, like, cute, but this time he, like, anyone who picked him up other than my brother or my sister-in-law, he just started crying.
How old is he?
So he's 1.
Oh, no, he's done with you.
That's sad.
He'll come back to you later when he realizes you can give him gifts.
Well, he has an older brother who's 3 who loves me, so...
Of course he does.
It's all good.
Did you get anything awesome?
Yeah, I got everything that I wanted and that I asked for and then some, so... It was good.
Which was?
I mean, I have very materialistic gifts.
So you're saying you got, like, no gadgets for Christmas?
No, because I already have all the ones that I wanted.
Of course
so
you do.
I just got, like, I got clothes. I got Timberland boots, which I wanted for, like, ever. I got, like, a shirt from Burberry. I got a Louis Vuitton bag.
This stuff. Is any of that, like, wearable technology clothing?
No, but when I
Fabrics,
got my
textiles?
bag, though, I made sure that it could fit my laptop. So, and it has lots of pockets for my gadgets, so.
This is a massive, like, nerd fail. I held up the end of our bargain. I got some video games, and I got Amazon Echo, so what now?
But I did spend all of Christmas evening before I went to the movies playing Super Smash Brothers with my sister and my cousins.
Oh, I guess we can. That's a good thing.
It was kind of cool because, like, you can use Nintendo 3DS as a controller for the Wii now when you play that game.
Yeah.
So I was doing that the whole time. I had never done it until that night, so
nice.
It works really well.
I don't know. How old's your Wii? When did you get it?
I got a Wii U, like the Christmas season
you
it came
got the Wii U?
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just sold my Wii to a girl in our office for her children. So
for like what, $50?
I'm gonna charge her a ton of money. It wasn't used very much, so.
She can also go buy a Wii U.
No way.
I guess.
I'm gonna charge her at least $100. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this.
Well, if you have lots of games, then that's at least like a decent.
I only gave her 2. I gave her Wii Sports and Mario Kart, but I gave her a ton of accessories.
Okay.
So I feel like asking for $100 for a barely used Wii from 2010 is totally just.
Okay.
Again, and if you are out there listening to this, I'm so very sorry that I'm about to rip you off, but I think it's only
Well, by the time she hears this, like, she's already gonna
she'll
have
have paid me, so it's going to be fine. So part of my Christmas, I watched The Interview, the movie that Sony pulled after all of the shenanigans, the hacking shenanigans with North Korea. Did you see it?
I didn't. I saw Into the Woods on Christmas.
That was actually a much better use of your time.
No, it was like the end of the night, but I didn't really like the movie very much, so it was okay.
Well, Meryl Streep was in it.
I
don't even know if you're allowed to say that you don't like a Meryl Streep movie.
Well, she was good, but like the movie was like it was a musical, which I don't mind because obviously I like musicals, but I didn't really get the point of the movie. I think it was trying to teach you like a life lesson or something, like there's consequences with everything you do, but it just wasn't like very like in your face about it. So I don't know. Well,
The Interview was crap.
That's what I heard.
And it was exactly what you would expect from Seth Rogen and James Franco. It's just that I don't know. It cost $5.99, which I guess is okay. And Sony pulled in $15 million.
Yeah, they did online.
Which is more than they've ever made online, and it's more than they brought into theaters. But it wasn't in most of the theaters anyway. So.
Well, it's in like 300 theaters now across the U.S.
Yeah.
But it said that it made it like the most, I guess, purchased movie online ever. So
I wonder if that says anything for like the future of online releases. Like the only large film I can think of that was awesome, well, this wasn't awesome, so it doesn't really qualify, but did you see Snowpiercer?
No.
Snowpiercer has Chris Evans in it, and it's kind of this dystopian movie where they're kind of on a train that's just traveling around the world because the world's been devastated. And it's like class warfare and all this stuff happening on the train. But it's an awesome movie. And they released it online at the same time as they did in the theaters. And I think it raked in a ton of money online. because
Yeah.
it went out on Netflix and Amazon and all that kind of
It was
stuff.
just
And I
more
wonder
convenient that way.
it is, you know, and I just wonder if there's some kind of future in that I don't know. Maybe the interview, as awful as it was, is a precursor to.
Well, I mean, I think that there definitely is like a future with like online movies because like you can pay $6 and have like a whole family watch it rather
Yeah.
than go to the movie theater and pay $10 for each kid and you, and so it's a lot cheaper to do that. However, a lot of movie like I guess like Sony, for instance, would have like a contract with like whatever theater they put it in that gives them money back too. So I feel like I don't know, like it's good to get money from both places rather than just one.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean, there are some things that I'd rather see in a theater.
yeah, like
But there are
IMAX
other things
movies,
where
for
I
instance.
think, like Snowpiercer, for example, if it was only released in the theaters and I heard about it and it sounded awesome, it might be something that I would have just pirated. But since it was available online, I was happy to pay the $4.99
Yeah, I
or
guess that
whatever
is
it cost,
true.
rather than stealing it off the Pirate Bay. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But apart from that, our big topic today, dear listeners, is net neutrality. But it's still important that we hit a few of the tech and gadget tidbits that have popped up in the news since we last recorded, which was like 3-4 weeks ago. So the first thing I saw, Brendan, is that China is having some Gmail issues because they banned Google there. And
Well, they've been trying to do it for like a long time, but it's not like they can't say that they just like completely blocked Google from
Right.
the networks and everything. And every time it happens, like Google finds a way around it and they come back anyway. But the other day, like it was just completely shut down. Like Gmail wasn't working for anyone that lived in China. And I don't know, I think it's just Gmail or maybe it's like Google in general, but for some reason China doesn't like Google. So probably why also the iPhone's such a big thing there because you
Right.
can't use like a Gmail phone unless you have Google. So, but what was happening is a lot of people like weren't able to access their emails and like everything was just shutting down. They couldn't even log into it. But I saw online today that it's all like back and up and running for a lot of people, but some people are still having problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first heard about it, it was when I worked at AT&T, and then also when I had like Asian classmates. They would say that they couldn't check their Gmail when they were home, so they couldn't check like the university mail if they had UMail, which explains why a lot of them now have like iMail because they
Right.
don't have to worry about it
right,
anymore.
which is
Yeah.
going away. It's
Yeah.
retiring, which isn't good. So we're having to go back to email.
Yeah, so I don't know, but they just weren't able to check like their mail, so like they wouldn't know like they had emails from school. They wouldn't know if like class assignments were due the first day of class and just stuff. It was causing all of them kind of problems. So I don't know. We're gonna see what happens with Google.
I'm curious about that, and I would
Yeah.
wonder if I know there are a lot of universities out there that have UMail. They have
Yeah.
Gmail powered email for students,
Yeah.
and that must have affected more people than IU.
Yeah,
surprised that
definitely.
one-
I mean, Google definitely, like you said, has a lot of like universities use it for its email, but I don't know why it's such a big problem in China. I haven't really looked into that further. So
Well, I think, and this is just I don't know what I'm saying. But I remember, I guess it's been a few years ago, and it really was just kind of like transparency and browser searches and that kind of thing, and wanting to like keep
Yeah.
control of the populace and censorship and all that kind of stuff, and the openness that Google has, and they don't want people on the internet.
but a lot of foreign countries do that. Like China does it with their internet. Obviously, the whole interview thing was a result of North Korea not wanting that movie to get out since it kind of bashed
Those
their.
people, poor people, don't even have the
yeah.
internet, so I don't even know.
But then also, like, if you go to, like, a lot of Middle Eastern countries, like, you can't go to certain websites there. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, in the UAE, you can't go to any, like, porn-related website at all. I think that's the same for, like, all, like, Middle Eastern countries because it's just
Well,
goes
I mean,
against their religion and
yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, and even less prurient, of course, like Twitter or Facebook or something. Anything
yeah.
where you could have like free speech and gather and maybe organize something and get out there and
yeah.
have a little rising. So
It's crazy all the things that we take for granted that other countries, like, take seriously. So,
they're pretty hardcore about it.
yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't complain so much. So the next thing, the Bank of England is using Facebook and Twitter to help set interest rates in the United Kingdom, which is kind of rad.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool, obviously, since I'm a finance professional. But previously, they just used like different systems and stuff that would help them like look at past trends to kind of predict what would happen in the future. So now they're going to use like other devices and like social media to kind of look at what's happening now to help them predict the future a little better. And so obviously, if you look at what's happening now, like that's a greater predictor than what happened last year or the year before that and whatnot. So.
Well, there's an IU research scientist who's using Twitter to predict the stock market and hasn't had bad results.
Right, which is, I guess, right along the same way that what they're doing here. So, I mean, a lot of companies post things on the social networks like that, so that's a good way to kind of look at it. You also can see, like, what consumers are responding to, what are people buying, and stuff like that.
You
So
see when things go down, I mean,
yeah.
there's kind of a little minor catastrophe. So, after that, Apple, glorious Apple, might be finally making a comeback. This holiday season, Apple accounted for 51% of the mobile activations, which is a nice turnaround from its performance last holiday season with the iPhone 5, I think.
Well, that would have been the year before. I don't know what they did last year. They weren't really in the media too much about like what happened last year.
Yeah.
Because the 5S obviously wasn't that much different from the 5,
No.
but yeah, they changed the screen size of the 5, but it wasn't like that drastic of a change where
Well, it
people
was
like
still small.
yeah. I mean, people are still complaining. Oh my God, this phone is like it's bigger. It's the best thing ever. Obviously, I got it, but I got
You
it.
get everything. That doesn't count.
Well, I got it mostly because it finally had LTE, and the 4S didn't have it. So, but then like I had my Android phone for work, and it had LTE, so I'm using LTE on here, and then I go to my phone, I'm using HSPA Plus and 3G, so I had to have the iPhone 5. But that was when Apple first experienced their first like decline in mobile sales, and so now since they have much bigger phones and they're kind of giving people what they want, obviously the operating system is still dated a little bit, but
Yeah, the 6 Plus, the new iPads, all that
yeah,
stuff.
and they have the new iPads with a fingerprint scanner now. It's also like the same color as all the phones, so it doesn't come in just white or black. It comes in white, gold, white, and silver, and then black and gray and everything. So it just kind of makes everything a little more streamlined, which is making people happy apparently. So now we're just see what happens with the Apple Watch.
It should be soon. So, Joe,
Yeah.
you're going to CES in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's right. I am.
That's right. You need to go by the Apple booth and look at that phone or look at that watch. See what's up.
Which watch is it?
The Apple Watch.
Oh, the Apple.
The
Well, I knew
only
that.
Apple Watch.
Oh, they only have one.
There's only one.
Kind of out of
But
the
there's like a
wearables.
couple
It's
models
okay.
of it, but
Joe, dear audience, is out of the wearables. Joe has a phone from the 90s, as we've discussed before.
It's starting to die though, so pretty soon I'll be stepping into the 2000s.
Maybe you can get like an iPhone 3GS. Do they still sell those?
wait, so by 2000s, do you mean you're getting the most recent smartphone, or are you just gonna
He's
get
going to get a BlackBerry
I'm
Classic.
gonna get a BlackBerry Classic. Can't wait. No, the phone I have is only I think 4 years old. So I think it's from 2010
Well,
or
we are
2009.
psyched to hear about what you see. So if you see something awesome, let us know about it, and
Will
we
do.
demand that you maybe snag us some free stuff. Or
I need the Apple Watch.
yeah, find a way to get us an Apple Watch. User connections,
My Nitocris.
whatever.
Also, we really need
Do
one
what
of
you
these
need to
for-
do, Joe.
I miss her.
Research.
She has everything.
She does have everything.
She just loaned me an iPhone 5S.
Why don't you use that instead of what you've
I
got?
just got it set up, and I don't even have the number memorized yet.
Why don't you just transfer that
Get a
number
chance
to
with the
it?
number.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
I'm so out of it. I'm on a budget, people.
This is a podcast about nerd gadget things. You've got to get it together.
I'm really smart, I swear.
So you just
Joe's a genius.
so you just want to get a whole new number?
No, I don't want to do that. I didn't know you could transfer them,
Yeah,
to
you
be
can
honest.
transfer.
That's what I've been
Oh.
wondering. Like I said, I've been on kind of a tight
That would
budget.
help me because I would hate to have to change your number in my phone.
That's like my,
That's really annoying.
as annoying as my email address.
So speaking of Apple and Joe's maybe iPhone 5S, did you said?
Yes.
There is a company, a Chinese-based company called, I'm going to assume that this word is maybe Xiaomi or Xiaomi. It's Xiaomi, but they make devices that are quite literally copycats of every Apple device, and they are now a $46 billion company by ripping Apple off, and they haven't been sued to death the way Samsung always is. What's up with that?
I have no idea what's up with that. I'm interested to see why that is as well. But like you were saying, they have Apple devices. Well, they have their own devices that look identical to Apple devices, just like a little bit different. But I saw the other day they just came out with like a whole range of smartphones that looks exactly like the iPhone 5C, just bigger. But they're in the exact same color schemes that the 5C came on. Even like the wallpapers on the phones when you turn them on have the same color as the phone did, which is what Apple did with the 5C as well. But then they also have like a phone that looks just like the iPhone 5S. They have like a smart TV box that looks just like Apple TV. They have like a trackpad that looks just like Apple's Magic Trackpad for the iMac. So like literally everything is like exactly the same, even like the way they present the new products at their little keynotes and everything. So
What kind of operating system are they running? Do we know?
It's like it's somewhat like Android based, but since they don't have such like great access to Google, they have to like make the apps. I don't know. They put it online. They said like there are apps that are like designated to their phones that are like Google based, but they don't use Google. If that makes sense. I
It
don't
makes
know.
sense.
Like they're native to the phone, so that they're like apps that keep their customers loyal and coming back and buying the phones, which is obviously how they became a $46 billion company. But it's just not as free as like normal Android would be, which is weird because a lot of like the international students that come over here, at least the ones that I helped at AT&T, they all had Android phones and they all like were some version of Android. So I don't know how they got around that, but whatever. But I don't know why Apple isn't suing them like they do with Samsung. So
Something's got to be up.
especially when everything looks like it's been like copied, like everything.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They sue Samsung for things like keyboards and whatever. Like you would think they would do the same with its company. There's got to
Yeah.
be a conspiracy theory, and someone should figure out what it is.
Well, remember when Samsung like got sued for the Galaxy S, like the first one that looked just like the iPhone 3GS?
Yeah.
They have literally everything that looks like iPhones or made by Apple, and so I don't know, but maybe it just happens to do with something that all of the iPhones are made in China. So
So we're just gonna let these cats slide.
yeah.
Whatever, bygones.
Well, now that our MacBooks and stuff are being made in the U.S., maybe iPhones will be soon. So
Yeah, that's true. Maybe.
we'll see.
Come on, American dollars, American work.
Well, we're becoming energy to independence soon, so let's keep these oil prices down.
Right. So before we get to the big bad topic of net neutrality, let's throw it over to Ross Wilkerson for just the tip.
Thanks, Janae, and Happy New Year. The start of the spring semester means a flood of brand new tablets, smartphones, laptops, and gizmos to the support center. Everyone, of course, wants to get these set up and connected to IU Secure, so here's a brief look at what you probably need to do. We'll start with the easy stuff: smartphones, mobile devices, anything that isn't using Windows or Mac OS. You'll want to set up your passcode, swipe pattern, or whatever else it is to secure the device. If you have the option to try fingerprint or facial recognition, do it. It is wildly convenient and easy. The first time you try to connect to IU Secure, you'll click through a short registration process in your browser. Nothing to worry about, just a couple buttons to click past. And then if you're a student, you might also want to check out the university's app called IU Mobile. If you're on a MacBook or something else running OS X, you were probably already forced to pick a password. The first time you connect to IU Secure, you'll see the same registration process I described a moment ago. After that, head to iuware.iu.edu and download Office for Mac. While you're there, you can also download antivirus software. IU licenses Symantec's product, and we also have a free public option called Sophos. If you're on a Windows machine, the first time you connect to IU Secure, you will be asked to run Get Connected. This is an easy program that makes sure your computer has a password, antivirus software, updates, and that sort of thing. After that, check out ninite.com. That's Ninite.com. This site simplifies installing things like Flash Player, Java, Adobe Reader, iTunes, anything that's free from the internet. If you bought your machine from a major manufacturer like HP or Dell, you'll probably want to uninstall some of the crap they left on it for you. Open the control panel, look for the link that says Uninstall a Program. You can get rid of just about anything in this list, particularly anything you know you don't use or don't recognize. Finally, you'll want to hit up IUware to download Office and other software. We suggest you uninstall versions of Office that came with the machine. These are often labeled as trial or student versions and can interfere with activating the IU version of that software. Should the worst happen and one of your computing devices turns up stolen or lost, all hope is not lost. After filing a police report, contact the support center with a MAC address or serial number for the device, and we will help you report it to IU's information security folks. Please note that staff and faculty are required to make that report if their device contains sensitive or restricted data. Welcome back, enjoy your new toys, and have a great semester. Janae?
Many thanks, Ross. Hope you had a good holiday. So with that, let's get to the matter at hand. Net neutrality. You look so excited, Brendan. You look frightened.
I'm preparing my thoughts.
Okay.
It ties into most of what you guys have been talking
It
about.
does. So unless you spent the last year in a hole in the ground, you've probably heard of net neutrality. But what is it? We can't get into all of the specifics because we'd be here until next week, and Brendan, Joe, and I aren't exactly experts like that. But in a nutshell, net neutrality describes the idea that whoever provides you internet access, whether it's AT&T, Comcast, Verizon, or whatever, should treat all of your internet traffic or packets of data the same way. So if you use Netflix and Amazon Instant Video and you flip back and forth a lot between them to watch shows and movies, net neutrality says your ISP should not be able to charge those two companies or any other company that depends on the internet for a faster connection to you and other customers. The ISP also can't charge you to access those services. And in the US, the FCC or the Federal Communications Commission would be responsible for upholding net neutrality laws. So, Brendan, when I first heard of net neutrality, I thought government-regulated internet freedom, what could possibly go wrong? But there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thoughts and opinions?
I don't know. It's just complicated. Like, I can see it going, like, well for consumers, but also going, like, bad for consumers as well. Like when Netflix and Comcast first got in their first debacle, they just, like, would throttle the speeds terribly when you're using Netflix. And so Netflix had to pay Comcast all this money in order to get your speeds back up to normal to actually watch, like, an HD video. So I could see, like, oh, well, the government's going to make us regulate, or the government's going to regulate how we charge these companies stuff now. So now we're just going to reduce everyone's speed to be the same. And so then, like, next you know, your video quality is going to be gone or whatever. But I don't know. I just don't know how it's going to work. Like, are there going to be different levels of packages of internet, or?
Well, we have that now.
Yeah.
Like on AT&T, I have.
But is that
going to
stay around though,
or whatever?
Because, like, say for instance, I have like 50 megabits per second, but then like my neighbor has like 10. And they want to watch Netflix, like obviously my speed's going to be better for that. But then since Comcast no longer can charge Netflix for me using all that bandwidth when I'm watching Netflix, like am I not going to be able to get 50 megabits per second anymore? Like,
or
am
is
I going
he getting also 50 megabits per second?
Right, like is everyone going to have the same speed of internet for the same price or what? Which is going to cause like the cable companies to lose a lot of money. Or they could reduce everyone's speed and charge a lot of money for it. But so it could go either way, in my opinion.
So obviously, a lot of massive tech companies like Intel, Qualcomm, Cisco, IBM, Comcast, AT&T, companies that provide equipment and infrastructure are against net neutrality. It's going to cost them a ton of money.
But I feel like companies like Intel or Qualcomm or whatever, they make devices that people obviously use to connect to the internet, but they're not actually like providing an internet service. So I don't understand why they're so against it, because they're not directly like, I guess, influenced by it.
It's not just about devices. It is infrastructure and.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're still going to need those devices no matter how the internet's regulated. True. I can see why AT&T would be mad about it because they do provide an internet service, but like Intel doesn't. So. Right.
Well, the one that actually makes some sense is IU alum Mark Cuban, who is against net neutrality because he wants fast lanes that would allow future applications, maybe the kinds of things that we can't even imagine yet, maybe medical applications and that kind of thing, to things that are actually crucial to our society instead of like Netflix and getting on the PlayStation network. They would pay for a fast lane that would give them priority service, and it would guarantee their service, so they don't have to worry about being throttled.
Right.
Because they're kind of doing these great things. They need to make sure that they have the access.
But is that the way that it's being set up? I mean, is it really just going to be Netflix and television and all these like stuff that isn't crucial to human survival, getting the fast speeds because that's what's profitable?
Yeah, that's exactly what's
Whereas research isn't always profitable.
Well, and that's what pro net neutrality people argue, is that, and those kinds of companies include Google and Facebook, is that neutrality protects innovation and it protects startups, and it allows these companies that don't have much money to, do what they need to do and kind of change the world on a small dime. But arguments against net neutrality say that it actually stifles innovation. Maybe.
Well, I don't really see.
Though?
Yeah. I don't see, like, it's not like we're short on silicon for transistors. You know what I mean? I don't know how hot the server racks are getting for Comcast, and they need to update them so they can handle all of Brendan's cat videos or whatever he's watching.
Well, I think with the argument that it stifles, it's saying that you've got these bandwidth hogs, you've got Netflix, you've got Xbox Live, you've got people just ripping exabytes of torrents off of BitTorrent and that kind of stuff, and it sucks up all the connectivity. And if you had fast lanes, maybe you build faster, advanced fiber networks that allow all these new services to function. Of course, they've got to pay for it, which doesn't really seem to come up.
So to me, the whole, like, say for instance, Comcast again charging Netflix in order for the customers to be able to use that. Only way that I see that benefits Comcast is that gives them more money to build like a better network for like us to have better internet. Since yeah, you guys are going to keep using this much bandwidth, so let us invest all this money that we're charging from Netflix in order to build like a better cable network or whatever.
That would be great.
Is that happening? I don't know.
They're sucking money out of everyone now, and they don't build better anything.
Yeah,
they just build more like phone centers to take complaints.
Yeah, which their customer service has gotten a lot better because I called them today.
What?
For some reason my TV box in my room won't let me view what's on the DVR in the living room. So
pretty rude.
I don't know, but their customer service is great. I've called them twice now, and I've had like no problems with them. So,
are you serious?
Like once I had to get like a bill credit done, she did it like right then and there with no questions asked. So
really,
yeah.
I don't even believe this happened.
I'm so serious.
I think
It sounds like a fairy tale.
They're sweetening them up for the whole net neutrality.
Yeah.
They probably are.
But this is like before the net neutrality thing happened, so I don't know. I think they're good now.
No, the net neutrality thing's been being argued for a year.
Well, Comcast has me as a customer for right now. My mom has always had Comcast, and I've always used Comcast. So.
I kind of think Comcast is the devil. But I have AT&T, and they screwed me last year over the course of a week. It was terrible.
But can you get any other ISPs in Bloomington, Indiana, for instance?
No.
Yeah, you can. You can get Comcast and
you can get Comcast and AT&T, or you can get Smithville. But you've got to live out of town. Like you've got to go south of town, like by the lake, to get Smithville.
That's what Brian has.
Yeah,
but
he's out in the boonies. Like
yeah, he is.
So.
Well, I think that like.
But if you're in town, Smithville is not here, which is crap.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like the whole tiering the network or whatever, I think would be good. Like, okay, yeah, you want to pay for a fast lane, go ahead and do that. But like for Comcast, for instance, I pay for 50 megabits per second or up to 50 megabits per second is what they say. And then like early in the morning when I wake up, it may be like 58. But then like in the evening when everyone's awake, it's home, like 20.
Yeah.
And which is still decent. But like AT&T, for instance, has different like levels of their network, so like it depends on where you live at too, and so you get like a direct feed to wherever the hub is in your neighborhood. So if you pay for 25, you should be getting 25. Where I think 25 is their highest, but so maybe Comcast should do something like that, make people pay for a higher like bandwidth if they're going to continue to use services like that, which will prevent them from charging like the startup companies for using that much.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, like. It seems to me stuff isn't free.
yeah.
You know, like, we have to assume that we're going to pay for something. And while I think that making things cheap enough to allow for innovation is important, like I was talking about earlier, Foursquare set up their mobile service and got 100,000 users on a $25,000 budget. And maybe they can't do that with a fast lane system. But there's got to be some kind of middle ground where things are mildly affordable. Maybe some kind of, this may sound stupid, but like a business class or an innovation class where it's clear that we're here like developing systems, we're developing applications.
But they have that now, though.
They do?
Yeah, like Comcast has business class internet and like cable and everything just for businesses.
Right.
I don't think AT&T does. I know they have business accounts, but I don't think that the like the bandwidth or anything is any faster. But like, for instance, like customers of Comcast, you can like pay for higher speeds, but like business classes start at higher speeds and then go up from there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just complicated.
I don't know. The middle ground's got to be somewhere because the internet is not like a public utility. You know,
which is what this is trying to make it.
It's
right?
a toll road, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's a private toll in a private land. You kind of have to pay to be there. It makes sense.
Right.
Can I interject something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of the discussion too. It's the kind of the having a class structure for access to information. So I mean, poor the poor class underclasses of America that cannot afford this, they just get some of the news and not all the news.
Yeah.
So I think I understand that part of that this issue is having access to information.
True.
And making that fair for everybody, so fair playing field. I don't know if that's something to reflect in your conversation or not, but I think that's another aspect of it as well.
No, that is absolutely true.
Well, I think that some cable providers are doing it. Like Comcast does it now. Like if your family meets like a certain income threshold, then they'll give you 6 months of service for free, and then after that, you pay $10 a month from then on. So it's just bringing that internet connection to your house to allow for like educational growth and stuff like that. So maybe companies like Comcast, who is doing that, are trying to prepare for net neutrality. So by saying that, oh, we're already doing this for people, so we don't need like the government to come in and regulate it. So.
Well, and I'm kind of curious as to where companies like Google, who benefit from just having you online, who are already trying to, well, not trying to, they're already implementing like, you know, these floating balloons. I can't remember the clever name that Google came up with, but in Australia, I think it is, you know, to have this like roving free internet access. You got New York City with those Wi-Fi pylons. They're stepping up for free Wi-Fi.
Well, if you remember, like last year or the year before, Google came out with Google Fiber, which is a free like cable and internet service if you buy the equipment. So I think they're totally. I understand why they're totally on board with that, because they're providing this for people, or like for people for free, as long as they buy the equipment for it. So maybe that's just kind of what like everyone else is not wanting to do, because that's going to cost them to lose a lot of money. So
I don't know. It just seems that I can't think of anything the government is involved in that. I don't mean to make this. I don't mean to be political. I'm just saying government regulation for something like this doesn't seem like an awesome idea, only because of the general group of people we have making decisions. But who else would make these decisions? I don't know.
Well,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, as long as we don't start, you know, doing tiered water pressure, I think I'm okay with what they do with the internet. I guess.
That's true.
Well, I just think that since everything's moving towards a connected world, it was only inevitable that this conversation was going to arise. So, I don't know. I guess only time will tell what happens.
Yeah, well, let's all go agree to learn more about it in the meantime. And we can write our local congressman.
Everything online about it's so vague.
It is. Well, because I don't even think the people who are arguing about it actually know what's going on.
Well, the majority of the politicians that have made comments about it don't know anything about it.
No.
They're just saying something to say something. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's become like a polarizing, like very like partisan issue, which it shouldn't be. And I think things like that are what concern me about government regulation of this kind of thing, if it becomes like some just kind of partisan debate that and what the implications of that are later.
Right.
Well, I just hope it doesn't become like, okay, now we've regulated like what the ISPs can do, so now let's regulate what you can and cannot like look up and
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the concern.
It's a slippery slope. All right. Well, good meeting. Good talk.
We got a pretty firm stance on that, I think, right?
Yeah.
We have a firm stance of not sure.
We are firmly uncertain.
We are firmly uncertain about what's going on, and at least we're confident in that uncertainty. So with that, boys and girls, I bring episode 14 of Talk Nerdy to me to a close. If you have any questions, feedback, or want to say hi, you can reach out to us online at talknerdy.iu.edu, on Twitter at talknerdyiu, and via email at nerdy@iu.edu. On behalf of Brendan, Ross, and Joe, this is Janae Cummings. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again in February. This has been an official production of the IT Communications Office. Copyright 2015, the Trustees of Indiana University.